Okay, so have you ever been reading something and you just grab that highlighter and start like marking stuff up?
Yeah, definitely.
But does it really help you learn? You know,
Right.
like we all do it, but is there any science to back it up?
Yeah. That's a great question. And actually there's a whole body of research on
Oh,
this.
really?
Yeah, so today we're going to deep dive into a meta-analysis that looked at this very question.
Cool.
It was published in Educational Psychology Review back in 2022.
Okay.
And the title is kind of mouthful, but it's Effects of Learner-Generated Highlighting and Instructor-Provided Highlighting on Learning from Text, a meta-analysis.
Wow, that is a mouthful.
I know, right?
But it sounds like it's going to get to the heart of the matter.
Definitely.
So what makes this particular study so special? I mean, is it just like one study
Oh,
or?
no, it's way more than that.
Yeah.
This meta-analysis actually combined the results from 36 different articles.
Wow, 36.
Yeah, and these articles were published over a pretty long period of time, too, from 1938 all the way to 2019.
So they're looking at like almost a century of research.
Pretty much. And in total, they analyzed 85 different research outcomes.
Wow. So this is like a really comprehensive look at the topic.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
not just one study. It's like a really broad view of decades of research trying to figure out if highlighting actually works, and if so, how.
So it's not just about whether highlighting is good or bad. It sounds like there's more nuance to it.
Exactly. And that's where the idea of different types of highlighting comes in.
Okay, so let's break that down. I mean, what are these different ways we can highlight?
Sure. So the meta-analysis really focuses on two main types. The first is learner-generated highlighting.
Okay, so that's like what most of us probably think of when we hear highlighting.
Yeah, exactly. It's where you as the reader are deciding what seems important as you go along and you highlight it yourself.
Gotcha. So like when I'm prepping for a test and I'm going through my textbook and highlighting all the key terms and stuff.
Exactly. That's learner-generated highlighting.
Okay, and then what's the other type?
The other type is instructor-provided highlighting.
So that's where someone else has already done the highlighting for you.
Precisely someone who supposedly knows the material really well has gone through and highlighted all the most important parts.
I can see how that could be helpful. I mean, it's like they're giving you a roadmap of what to focus on.
Right. It's like they're doing the heavy lifting of identifying what's truly important so you don't have to.
So basically, we've got DIY highlighting versus like expert guided highlighting.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So the big question then is which one actually works better, or do they both work in different ways?
Right. That's what this whole deep dive is about. We're going to dig into the research and see what it tells us about which highlighting method, if either, is the most effective for actually learning and remembering.
This is super interesting. I'm already rethinking my whole highlighting strategy.
Me too.
So let's start with the DIY approach, the learner-generated highlighting. Does doing your own highlighting actually help you learn better? I mean, what did this huge meta-analysis reveal?
Well, the main finding was that on average, when people highlighted text themselves, it did seem to give their memory a little boost.
Okay, so like I might remember those specific facts or dates or whatever better if I highlighted them.
Right. The meta-analysis found an average effect size of 0.36 for memory.
Okay, now I know we've talked about effect sizes before, but just as a refresher, what does that number actually tell us?
Sure. So think of it this way. An effect size of 0.36 for memory basically means that there's a noticeable improvement in recall, but it's not like a huge dramatic difference.
Gotcha. So it's like a helpful nudge, but not a total game changer.
Exactly. And to put it in context, an effect size of around 0.4 is generally considered a medium effect.
Okay.
So 0.36 is a little bit smaller than that. It's still considered a positive effect, but it's not like this massive earth-shattering finding.
Right. So it's like it's worth doing, but it's not like the be-all and end-all of study strategies.
Yeah, exactly. And here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
So while learner-generated highlighting did seem to help with memory, it didn't have the same impact on comprehension.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I might remember the stuff I highlighted, but not necessarily understand it better.
That's what the research suggests. The average effect size for comprehension was only 0.20, which is considered a small effect.
So basically, it's not strong enough to say that learner-generated highlighting consistently leads to a deeper understanding of the material.
Exactly. And this difference between memory and comprehension is really important.
In what way?
Well, it kind of suggests that even though you might be better at recalling the actual words or phrases you highlighted,
Mm-hmm.
the act of highlighting itself, when you're the one choosing what to mark, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to grasp the underlying concepts or see how everything fits together.
So I might remember the trees, but not really see the forest.
Exactly. You might remember a bunch of isolated facts, but not the bigger picture they're all part of.
That's a really interesting distinction. So it's like there's a difference between just remembering something and actually understanding it.
Right. And this kind of highlights the difference between surface level processing, where you're just taking in information at a very basic level,
Okay.
and deeper semantic processing, where you're really thinking about the meaning you're making connections and understanding the why behind the what.
That makes a lot of sense. So if my goal is just to memorize a bunch of facts for a test, then highlighting might be a decent strategy.
It could be, yeah.
But if I really want to understand the material deeply and be able to apply it in different contexts, then highlighting on its own might not cut it.
Exactly. You might need to do some more active processing, like summarizing the information in your own words or explaining it to someone else.
Right. It's like highlighting can help you flag the important stuff, but then you got to do something with it.
Precisely.
Okay, so that's learner-generated highlighting.
Mhm.
What about the other type instructor-provided, highlighting? What happens when the highlighting is done for you?
Well, the findings there were pretty interesting. The meta-analysis showed that instructor-provided highlighting actually improved both memory and comprehension.
Oh, wow. So it had a positive effect on both.
Yeah, and the effect size was pretty consistent too. It was
Yeah.
0.44 for both memory and comprehension.
So that's like a solid medium effect.
Yeah, it suggests that when someone with expertise has already highlighted the key stuff for you, it can really make a difference in how well you learn and remember.
Okay, so if I'm reading a textbook and the author has already highlighted the most important terms and concepts, I'm likely to both remember those things better and actually understand them better.
Exactly. And if we think about this from a learning perspective, it makes sense.
Also,
Well, when an instructor highlights the text, they're basically guiding your attention to the most crucial information.
okay.
And they're also often highlighting the relationships between different ideas.
Oh, I see.
So it's like they're providing this scaffolding that helps you build a more coherent and deep understanding of the material.
It's like they're doing the hard work of figuring out what's really important, and then they're just handing you the cheat sheet.
Yeah, pretty much. And that can make a big difference, especially if you're struggling with a complex topic.
It's like they're giving you a shortcut to understanding.
Right. It's not just about memorizing isolated facts. It's about seeing the big picture and how everything connects.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, this meta-analysis also looked at whether the age of the learner played a role in how effective highlighting was.
Yeah, they compared college students to younger school students, and there were some interesting findings.
Okay, let's start with learner-generated highlighting again. What did they find when they looked at different age groups?
So they found that learner-generated highlighting was effective for improving learning in college students.
Okay.
The average effect size was 0.39.
So that's in line with what we were talking about earlier, right? Like a small to medium positive effect.
Exactly. But here's the kicker. It didn't have the same effect for school students.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the average effect size for school students was only 0.24, which is considered a pretty small effect.
So basically, it's not really making much of a difference for them.
That's what the research suggests, and it raises an interesting question about why there might be this difference based on age.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think is going on there?
Well, it's possible that younger students just aren't as good at identifying the truly important information in a text.
Okay.
They might not have developed the same level of metacognitive skills as college students.
Metacognitive skills.
Yeah, it's like the ability to think about your own thinking, to understand how you learn best and what information is truly important.
Oh, I see.
And that's a skill that takes time and experience to develop.
So younger students might be highlighting a lot of stuff, but they might not be highlighting the right stuff.
Exactly. And they might not be making those connections between different ideas or thinking critically about what they're reading.
It's like they're highlighting almost randomly.
In some cases, yeah, and that's why it's not really translating into better learning.
That makes sense. So what about instructor-provided highlighting? Did they find the same kind of age difference there?
Actually, no, the findings for instructor-provided highlighting were pretty consistent across both age groups.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was effective for both college students and school students.
So having an expert highlight the key information for you seems to be helpful regardless of how old you are.
Exactly. The average effect size was 0.41 for college students and 0.48 for school students.
So pretty much the same.
Pretty much, yeah. Which again suggests that having that guidance from someone who knows the material really well can make a big difference in how well you learn and understand.
It's like having a tutor built into the text.
Right. It takes away some of the guesswork and helps you focus on what's really important.
All of this is really making me think about my own experiences with highlighting.
Yeah.
I know I've definitely gone through textbooks and highlighted like crazy, and then later realized I didn't really absorb that much.
Yeah, I think we've all been there.
I remember feeling like I was being super studious.
Yeah.
Like, look at all this highlighting I'm doing.
Right, like I'm really engaging with the material.
Exactly. But
Mhm.
then when it came time to actually recall the information or apply it to a problem, I was like, wait a minute, I don't actually get this.
Yeah, and that totally aligns with what the research shows.
Right, like highlighting might make you feel like you're learning, but it doesn't necessarily mean you are.
Exactly. It's like you're going through the motions, but you're not really processing the information deeply.
It's like putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg.
Kind of.
Yeah.
It might look like you're doing something, but it's not actually addressing the underlying problem.
So what does all this mean for our listeners?
Hmm.
How should they approach highlighting based on all this research?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that if you have access to materials where an expert has already done the highlighting for you, that's probably your best bet.
Okay, so like if you're using a textbook that has key terms and concepts already highlighted, or if your professor provides you with notes that have the most important information highlighted.
Exactly. That can really streamline your learning and help you focus on what's truly important.
But of course, that's not always an option.
Sure. Right. So what about when you have to do the highlighting yourself?
Yeah, is there anything we could do to make our own highlighting more effective?
Well, this particular meta-analysis didn't focus on specific highlighting techniques, but other research has looked at that, and
Wow.
it suggests that being more selective in what you highlight can make a big difference.
So instead of highlighting like whole paragraphs,
Right. Try to focus on just the key terms and main ideas.
okay, that makes sense.
It's like you're creating your own little cheat sheet.
Right, and that can be really helpful for memory. But how do we make sure that translates into actual understanding?
So another tip is to try to summarize or paraphrase the highlighted information in your own words.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it forces you to think about what you're reading and put it into your own language.
So it's not just about passively highlighting, it's about actively engaging with the material.
Exactly. And that active engagement is what really helps solidify your understanding,
So it's like the highlighting is just the first step.
right? It's like you're marking the trail, but then you have to actually hike it.
I love that analogy.
It's about the journey, not just the destination.
So to wrap up for our listeners today, we learned that learner-generated highlighting can be a helpful tool for boosting memory, especially for college students and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't necessarily improve comprehension. On the other hand, having an expert do the highlighting for you seems to be beneficial for both memory and comprehension, and for learners of all ages.
Exactly. And that really underscores the importance of seeking out expert guidance whenever possible.
So here's a final thought for our listeners, given all of this. How might you adjust your own reading and study habits?
Mm,
Could seeking out pre-highlighted materials or maybe being more intentional about what you highlight and how you process those key points make a difference in your learning?
definitely.
This research really gives us a lot to think about when it comes to how we engage with text and how we can make the most of what we read.
Absolutely. And hopefully it will help our listeners become more effective learners.
That's what we're all about here on The Deep Dive.
Cheers to that.
Thanks for listening, everyone. And we'll see you next time for another deep dive into the research.
See ya.
Bye.